Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? I'm back up here for my reviews for Raw and SmackDown this week. I figured I would just combine them and do one giant review for both post WrestleMania episodes, which I thought were outstanding shows. I'd give the slight edge to Raw for the show that I enjoyed more, but WWE really went all out, as they should, for the post WrestleMania Raw and SmackDown, respectively. So without further ado, let's get right into it and talk about it. We were live from New Orleans, once again, the Smoothie King Center for Raw and SmackDown. So on Monday Night Raw, we kicked things off with Stephanie McMahon. She came out talking up about her great performance and how it was memorable and you never forget it, and it was just so phony, insincere. You knew as soon as she invited Ronda Rousey out there that business was going to pick up. And she said, "Let me be in your corner, Ronda. Let me help you. I'll take you to the next level. We can put what happened at WrestleMania behind us. And, let's be friends. Let's shake my hand." She goes in to shake her hand, doesn't let go, takes her down, puts her in the arm bar. Looks like she almost broke her arm. And, as she said she was going to do, rip her arm out of her socket. Of course, Stephanie had her arm all in a brace and everything, and Ronda ripped that off, and Stephanie's screaming, and she's selling, and she's putting this thing over big time. And this was awesome. It's just awesome to see somebody finally stand up to Stephanie McMahon in storyline. I mean, nobody else has been able to do it. Nobody else has been able to one-up this woman. And if anybody's going to do that, then I feel it's going to be Ronda Rousey. So I thought this was a great way to kick off Monday Night Raw. So where do we go from here? We move on to Nia Jax coming down as the new Raw Women's Champion. This was going to be a tag match between Nia Jax and a partner of her choosing versus Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. Mickie comes out, starts trash talking Nia, talking about her weight and whatever, and what happened last night and how she was under emotional distress and how it was a fluke that Nia won at WrestleMania. And then, this is why you don't have a partner tonight. And then Nia Jax made the announcement of, "I do have a partner, and it is Ember Moon." Ember Moon finally made her main roster debut, as we all thought it was going to happen, either Raw or SmackDown. Happy to see Ember come up to the main roster. I think she'll do very well. I see big things for her. I definitely have to say I see very big things for Ember Moon. We'll see how far she can go. But yeah, I thought it was a solid debut for her. Nia Jax, Ember Moon make quick work of Alexa Bliss. And Ember hits the total eclipse on Alexa Bliss. Makes you wonder, with the superstar shakeup that was announced last night, if Alexa Bliss will be moving on to SmackDown Live. She took the fall here. Wouldn't surprise me. I prefer Alexa Bliss on SmackDown Live. That's where she really had a great run with the SmackDown Women's Championship. So we'll see what happens there. But I thought it was a great introduction for Ember Moon. And now we have backstage Braun Strowman and his 10-year-old tag team partner Nicholas. Who would have thought? I certainly didn't see it coming. So Kurt Angle says, well, actually, Kurt didn't even strip him of the titles. That was weird. I thought for sure it was going to be like, all right, you got to hand him over. You can't have you and a 10-year-old kid as your partner. But Strowman said Nicholas had other commitments, namely being in the 4th grade, which he does make a good point. So they give up the titles, and now we're going to have a tag team eliminator. I don't know if that's because Vince doesn't like the word tournament. Essentially, we're going to have a mini tournament to determine who will face the bar at the greatest Royal Rumble event on April the 27th. It's funny. Nicholas was more over on this show than Roman Reigns. Just saying. We had No Way Jose make his Raw debut. Took on John Skylar. The pop-up wind-up punch for the win. Came down with a big Congo line of people, and I don't know if it was just me, but this kind of reminded me of the Rosebuds. Hopefully it doesn't turn out that way for No Way Jose. I don't know how far I see him going on the main roster. He's all right. Not one of my favorites in NXT, but I guess he can get the crowd fired up. So there you go. Moving on here, we had the first match in the tag team eliminator. It was the Club versus the Revival. The Revival got the win here with the Shatter Machine. So if I'm looking at this, I could predict that the Club move over to SmackDown along with Finn Balor. I could definitely see that happening. I feel Finn would be a nice fit on SmackDown Live. Moving the Club over, get them off Raw. They've been there since their debut. Would definitely help freshen things up. You move Finn and them over as a package. And if AJ's there, maybe you could do the Club versus Styles. Balor versus Styles. To me, that would be awesome to see. So we'll see what happens there. After this, we had Seth freaking Rollins come down. He announced that he is now a Grand Slam champion, and he is Grand Slam Rollins. Crowd started chanting that. They chanted, "You deserve it." Soaking in all the adulation. Finn Balor comes down to the ring, puts over Seth, congratulates him, saying, "You were the better man, and you deserve to win the Intercontinental Championship." Eventually, The Miz comes down and says, this is an outcry. This is just tragic, when his daughter, little baby Miz, was watching with his wife Maurice. He said, and when his daughter saw Rollins steal the title from him, his daughter cried. And that made Miz cry. And, Rollins says, "That's great. I'm glad you could be man enough to admit that you cried." And he said, everyone cries when they watch The Miz wrestle. So that was a nice dig there by Rollins. He says, "Miz, you can't even lace your boots." And Rollins says, if Miz wants the rematch, we'll do it right here, right now. But Miz says, we're not going to do the rematch here. We're going to wait until Backlash. So we got The Miz versus Rollins set for Backlash. I believe on May 6th. Could be wrong, but I believe it's May 6th. Let me double check. May 6th. The Miz says the three of them can take on Miz, Balor, Miz, Axel, and Dallas could take on Balor and Rollins in a handicap match. And who would would make his return? Jeff Hardy. Yes, Brother Nero, it is great to finally have you back on the field of battle. So Jeff Hardy makes his long-awaited return to Monday Night Raw. Great seeing Jeff back, one of my favorites. He would team up with Balor, Rollins in the main event against the Miz Taraj. We'll talk about that later. So Brother Nero back on Monday nights. For how long, though? We'll see. We had Sasha Banks take on Mandy Rose. Bayley was at ringside. A little bit of miscommunication there. Bayley tried to swing at Rose, but she ducked. And Bayley decked Sasha Banks, and that cost Sasha Banks the match here. And she took a high knee, and Mandy Rose got the win. So they keep playing up this tension, this animosity. And next week on Raw, I'm surprised to see this. Maybe over the fact that we could see one of these two women drafted to different shows. Bayley versus Sasha Banks is going to happen next week on Raw. I'm surprised they're not saving that for Backlash. Maybe the match won't happen. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but that really surprised me right there. And what happened next also surprised me. After the match, Bayley, Sasha Banks, they walk up the ring. They're upset at each other. Then Paige is in the ring. She talks about sitting on the sidelines, how this is her home, but this will always be her home, this ring. However, due to neck injuries, she will have to announce, and she did announce her retirement from the ring as an in-ring competitor. She says they built this division into what it is today. She wanted to thank Daniel Bryan for giving her hope. She also wanted to thank Edge, who was in the back and took the time to speak to her today. Now Paige has to try and find something else, and she thanked the fans. She says that this will always be her house. And sure enough, the next night on SmackDown, we'll go right into it, she became the new general manager of SmackDown Live. So I think that's great for Paige. That'll be a great role for her. It will keep her in the company. It sucks to see that somebody at 25 years of age had to give up what they love. We'll see how she does as general manager. We knew this was coming for a while now. when would they make the announcement. I think it was fitting in New Orleans, in the same city 4 years ago where she made her debut, beating AJ Lee for the Divas Championship on Monday Night Raw. I felt it really brought things full circle here. So, thank you, Paige. That's all I can say. Hashtag thank you, Paige. We move on here next to an in-ring segment with Elias. Crowd's going crazy here. He says he realizes that tonight he is performing in front of a crowd full of scumbags that were in the same scumbags that were in the arena last night. He wasn't going to perform, but he'll do so anyway. And then the crowd starts chanting, "We are scumbags." That was funny. And he is interrupted by the returning Bobby Lashley. That's right, Bobby Lashley makes his long-awaited return to WWE. Been over 11 years since we've seen Bobby Lashley here in WWE. The first time I've seen him. Missed out on his run, didn't start watching until 2008. He looked in phenomenal shape. Elias goes to swing for Lashley. He ducks, hits the neck breaker, lifts him up, hits the vertical suplex, holds him up there for what felt like an eternity, and he leaves the ring. So Bobby Lashley, does that mean we're going to see Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley before his deal is up? We all know Brock signed a short-term contract extension. We'll see. But I think it's exciting, certainly, to have Bobby Lashley here and back in WWE. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. As we all know what happened at WrestleMania on Sunday, they lost, so therefore they're no longer employed in storyline. So to me, it would only make sense that they'd show up on Raw, and they did. And Kurt Angle said, "All right, I'm going to give you two an opportunity for a Raw contract. You two are going to have a match against each other, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and the winner of this match will get a Raw contract." And he says his tag team division is full, but he heard TNA is hiring. And when Kurt said that, I almost did a double. I'm like, did he just say TNA on the air? I can't ever remember the last time somebody mentioned TNA on the air. So props to Kurt there. Wow. That was definitely one of the most shocking moments of the night. Speaking of surprises, we had Heath Slater and Rhino in the ring. They laid out the open challenge. They want to challenge any tag team in the back who would make their debuts, but long overdue, the Authors of Pain with Paul Ellering, who they did leave behind after the match, after they quickly squashed Slater and Rhino. They hit the last chapter for the win. So it looks like going forward, Paul Ellering will no longer be with the Authors of Pain. I was wondering how that was going to work with the travel. I just didn't see Ellering doing it, unless he would just come in for TV. But I'm excited to see the Authors of Pain. Wish Ellering was still going to be with them. I thought he really, he completed the package there, legendary manager Paul Ellering. But it is what it is. Perhaps we'll see him go back down to NXT and manage another team. I think it would be smart. But I'm just happy to see the Authors of Pain finally make their debut. It's been long, long, long overdue. And I can't wait to see them go on a path of destruction here on Raw. We now have the segment here with Roman Reigns. Of course, showered with booze. He talks about how he's here tonight, but Brock Lesnar isn't. He didn't know what happened yesterday, and yesterday everything seemed off. Vince McMahon, he said, didn't have the balls to smarten Reigns up. He says, Vince, you're one hell of a businessman. They told us Lesnar was going back to UFC, and today they announced Lesnar signed a new deal, and Reigns found out today that he was going to have a steel cage match with Brock Lesnar at the Greatest Royal Rumble, which, back up here, to me really doesn't make any sense. Roman lost. Yeah, we're going to give him another championship opportunity at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Didn't make sense to me. Still don't get that one. So I'm predicting that on that show, because they know there's going to be a more favorable crowd reaction to Reigns, he will beat Brock Lesnar in the steel cage and win the Universal Championship. I'm just going to put that out there right there. And Samoa Joe makes his return to Raw. Great seeing Joe. He cut a scathing promo. He just ran Roman Reigns down here. He says, Lesnar didn't just beat Reigns, he exposed him. For a year, you claimed to be the only person that beat Lesnar, but when you finally got in there, you failed, and that makes you a liar. And Reigns can't admit the fact that every time he gets in the ring with Lesnar, he gets broken, beaten down, and destroyed. Said the Beast conquered the big dog, and after Lesnar destroys Reigns in the steel cage at Backlash, Samoa Joe wants to face Roman Reigns. So if my scenario happens, Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns, that's going to be a kick-ass match. I love when those two fight. It's just, they don't hold back against each other. They got great chemistry with one another, and I look forward to that match taking place at Backlash. If Reigns wins, this would be for the Universal Championship. So I would love to see Samoa Joe get in there, challenge for the Universal Championship, and honestly get that title off Lesnar. Whether it's Reigns or whoever, we need a full-time champion on Raw. So hopefully they get that title off Lesnar at the Greatest Royal Rumble. But I cannot wait for Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns at Backlash. We had the Tag Team Eliminator match, Titus Worldwide versus a team that I've been waiting to team together for quite a while. Woken Matt Hardy and Woken Bray Wyatt. Yes, it is wonderful. It is delightful that Bray Wyatt is finally the face of babies. And he has become a man of goodness. Yes, they deleted Titus Worldwide and move on to face the Revival next week. Yes, it'll be wonderful. It will be wonderful. Bray Wyatt finally has direction. Bray Wyatt, I finally care about. Thank you. Long, long, long overdue. Bray Wyatt, Matt Hardy are my picks to go on and face the Bar at the Greatest Royal Rumble. I'm just happy to see Bray Wyatt is finally, and The Rock means finally, a babyface. Battle for a Monday Night Raw contract. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn had a hell of a match here for the amount of time that they got. And just as it was going good, you can never go wrong with Owens and Zayn, although I do feel that we need to split them up. We need to have one guy on Raw, one guy on SmackDown, however you end up getting there with them in this storyline. That's how it needs to go during the shakeup. So they both get counted out, and they can't answer the count of 10, and this match is a no contest. So neither guy earns a Raw contract. So it really, I like it. It keeps up the intrigue, the suspense of what's going to happen next for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Are they going to go to New Japan? They're not. But that would be awesome if they just showed up at a bunch of different wrestling companies, independent promotions. To me, that would just make the add more to the storyline as it already is. We had a fun little segment with Woken Matt Hardy running into Brother Nero backstage, and Balor and Rollins are just like, what the hell was that all about? And Jeff just shrugs his shoulders. Yeah, I don't know. Go to the Hardy compound and find out for yourself. And then we close things out here with the Miz and the Miztourage versus Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and Jeff Hardy. Babyfaces pick up the win here. Solid, kind of underwhelming way to end this really great episode of Raw. But makes me think that Miz is going back to SmackDown Live. And if he does, I would love to see that feud between him and Daniel Bryan finally happen. That would be great stuff indeed. So coming in the end of my Raw review here, guys. I won't have time for a SmackDown review in this video. So this will just be a Raw review. I'll do a SmackDown review hopefully later on in the week. Maybe tomorrow. I can finally get to that, a little behind here. But my grades for Monday Night Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania episode, I am going with an A. An A+. To me, there was really nothing wrong with this Raw. It was easily the best Raw of the year. Blew Raw 25 out of the water. Hopefully they can keep up the momentum going next week into the Superstar Shakeup. So that does it, guys, for my live, well, not live, but my Monday Night Raw review for April the 9th, 2018. I want to say thank you all for watching this video. Be sure to click my like and subscribe button here on youtube.com/DanielGuys412 for all my latest thoughts. Be sure to follow me on Twitter @DanielGuys412. And also be sure to check out my Facebook page, facebook.com/DanielGuys1994. Give that page some likes. Be posting content on there as well. So until then, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video, whenever that may be. See ya.